what is it Jerry Maguire said? Help me help you. Good caregivers are crucial when you're incapacitated by a chronic illness and severe chronic fatigue syndrome or POTS or dysautonomia are illnesses that I can't find my words very well today. Land you in bed a lot. And sometimes when I'm going through a chronic fatigue syndrome crash, or it's also called myalgic encephalitis, when I'm going through a crash, I'm not able to communicate with my caregivers. I'm just completely overwhelmed with misery and either too low of a body temp or too high of a body temp, and shivering and all over body pain and brain fog and sometimes tremors, and sometimes the words just don't come, and sometimes any sound they make, talking, moving, any sound they make hurts. And so it's best for them to just leave me alone as much as possible and go on about taking care of things until I'm rested and recovered and able to get up where we can do something together, like shower or eating or whatever. And that can take days, weeks. It can take a long time sometimes. But so for me, the best caregivers are the ones that are self-directed and are able to take the time that I'm not able to say, this is what I want done, and figure out what needs to be done. And so what's worked best for me is having a caregiver binder with my instructions, information about my illness, and information about the routine. And it's something that on their first day, I have them sit down and go through. And then I have it sitting out on a desk with the most important and most in the daily stuff that's used in the beginning. And I'll show you that binder in a minute. I go through an agency for my caregivers. I'm in an area where there aren't a lot of options. I'm very lucky to have the caregivers that I do. But you do every once in a while get someone who just doesn't know the first thing about what to do when they come. And so, you know, they'll be here, for example, for 4 hours, and they'll maybe do something for like dishes or dusting or something for half an hour, and then the rest of the time they're sitting around not knowing what to do and not really taking the initiative. And if I can't help them figure out what to do because I'm not well enough, then it's time and money that's wasted. So again, I find this binder very helpful for them and for me. And also because I don't have just one caregiver, I have several different caregivers who don't have an opportunity to talk with each other. It's easy to have a piece of paper for them to mark down what they've done and what they haven't done each day. I also have things on my checklist, my daily checklist, that they remind me to do. Because of my short-term memory loss, I don't remember to take my medication. I don't remember to give my dog her medication. I don't remember to eat. I don't remember to brush my teeth. I just don't remember these things. I get up to do them and then I forget what I'm doing, and then later I think I've done them because I do remember, okay, yeah, I got up to do that. But I forget that then I forgot what I was doing. And believe me, I've spent a few years now working out every possible way of helping me not forget. Nothing has worked. So the best thing is having my caregivers remind me. I do put in the book my list of medications, and then a cheat sheet with, you know, take with food, what I take without food, and what times of the day I take them. I give them a list of my symptoms and diagnoses, and I explain the diagnoses on this list so that they have a better understanding. I have on the door when they come in a sign that will say, you know, things like, please remove shoes, please wash hands upon entering, things like that, that need to be done right away when they come in. And then I have the reminder list on the front of the binder, so it's one of the first things they see. And the reminder list is things to do when they enter and things to do before they leave, like, are all the dirty dishes taken care of? Because sometimes I'll be left with their dirty dishes as well. So it's a good little reminder for them to check the kitchen to make sure that they haven't left me their dirty lunch dishes on top of my dirty dishes. And of course, it's not meant, they don't mean to do it. It's just, you know, it just happens because they're busy doing other stuff and they don't think about it. If I get a new caregiver, or a new caregiver it's filling in when I'm in the middle of a crash, it can be a big disaster because they let in too much light, they talk too loud. Sometimes I get ones that don't hear very well themselves, and so they talk really loud, and they have a difficult time, because if I'm talking at all, I'm talking very softly. Sound is excruciating when I'm in the middle of a crash, more so than ever. And so to have them come right up against my ear, and because they can't hear me, they're yelling right here, "I can't hear you, speak up." Well, just because you can't hear me doesn't mean you need to yell. That's not how it works, right? Is it? Anyway, oh gosh, it really hurts when they do that. Anyway, so again, that might be something to put on the sign on the door when they come in with, take off your shoes, wash your hands immediately, use a mask if you're coughing or sniffling or sneezing or whatever. Anything that's on your list you might want to add, and please read the binder. And, you know, once they get a chance to read over my symptoms, it's a little easier for them to understand me being in a crash without really worrying. And then they're not coming through the door every 15 minutes checking to see if I'm still breathing. They're so worried about me. And making a lot of noise, which is excruciating in the process. So I'll show you the book. This caregiver book I find to be a really helpful tool. You know, it's not easy to come into someone else's home, kitchen, bedroom, take care of them, and when you've just met them. It's not easy to do it anyway. I think it's a hard job, and to come in fresh and new and not know anything about the house or the routine or the person and their illness, that's pretty tough. So I think having a binder like this is really an important first day thing, and it's a good reminder too later on. And on the inside I have a daily task checklist that I ask them to initial if they've done it, so that and that way the caregivers aren't sweeping the floor every single day that they come, but no one's mopping the floor, no one's changing the bed sheets, no one's vacuuming, no one's cleaning the shower, which is always one of the least favorite things. And it helps them remind me to do things because of my short-term memory loss. I don't remember to do things like brush my hair, brush my teeth, wash my face, give the dog her medicine, take my medicine. I never remember to take my own medicine. And so this sheet just is a daily checklist that they can fill out, and that way different caregivers have one piece of paper to really communicate with each other the basics of what has been done and doesn't need to be done again, and what hasn't been done for a while and should be done if they have time. And if I'm crashed out, if I'm having a CFS crash and I'm unable to communicate, then this is a really good way for them to go to this list and see what needs to be done and do it without me having to instruct them, which is something I'm simply not capable of doing when I'm not doing well. And it has things on there about, the time the mail is delivered and what day the trash gets put out, things like that. And then another sheet I have them fill out is a mileage log, so I know how many miles are being used every month. And then a list of caregiver instructions. And this is just, details. It's again what to do when you enter and leave. It goes over the checklist. It goes over where the phones are, what the morning routine is, and medications, and keeping the dogs safe, and where the laundry and cleaning supplies are. Specific things to my home, like not to use bleaches because I have a septic, that kind of thing. How my shower routine is set up, the cooking routine, grocery shopping, all that good stuff. And then I also have a list of my current diagnoses and symptoms, and an explanation of the top ones, so that they can sort of wrap their minds around what my situation is, so that they can help, and also so they don't make me worse by talking too loud or letting too much light in, and they understand a little bit better. So that's something I think is helpful for caregivers to have a list of, so that when you're having those symptoms, you don't have to get into yet another explanation about it, which can be exhausting when you're in the middle of experiencing them. And then I have a cash errand log for them to fill out, and they write down how much money I give them for the grocery store, and then if the receipt was returned and what change was returned, and that way it keeps everyone on the same page as well. Especially with my memory loss, this is very helpful for me to have. In the back is a pocket for the receipts. And and the grocery list goes here too, but someone took it home with them. So I have a grocery list that I have typed out. And then I pencil check marks or numbers next to it for what I want. And then I just erase and check again for the next time they go out, and that way I'm not printing off a lot of paper. 911 instructions, and then a more detailed supplement medication list underneath the little cheat sheet. And then some note paper for them to write down phone messages or messages to me if I'm not in a place where I can communicate. Then when I am later in the evening or the next day, I can come here when I'm ready and see if there was anything I needed to know. And then in the back I have contact information, emergency phone numbers of family and vets and pet sitter and all that kind of stuff in case something happens and I can't take care of it, then someone can take that information and help. So that is the Caregiver book. If you haven't already done a binder like this, I highly recommend it. It does make life a lot easier. And then you don't have a new person coming in and aggravating your symptoms or frustrating you because they don't understand your illness. We do deal with a lot of that, and it's nice to not have to deal with that in your own home by people who are taking care of you. And it isn't their fault, you know. They don't know unless we tell them. So we have to be responsible. We're responsible for educating them and the people in our lives and helping them. What is it Jerry Maguire said? Help me, help you. So I'm helping them help me. So anyway, I hope you find it useful. I hope you are having a good day, and I will see you later. Bye.